There it is. It's all over. Absolutely 1,000,000% shite. Every Leicester player that's been on that pitch today should hang their head in shame. Do you remember when we got relegated? We lost to Southampton, who finished bottom twice that season. Remind you of anything? Right. We will get Tom in. I can see he's hovering about, hopefully holding his head in shame after his predictions at half time. But we will get everybody in straight after this. If I come back, you might find me hanging from my lampshade.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Where's my beer? Oh, that's hard to try.
What can I say? I think Wayne, I can just hear something in the background with Wayne. Tom, what the fuck?
I know, mate. I'm so sorry as well, because ultimately I was holding on to the thinnest veil of the smallest light of hope, and that has firmly been kicked out of us in that last 45 minutes, hasn't it? Very depressing. Yeah, I feel very flat after that. I'll say one thing, and it's very odd. The thing that for some reason keeps coming to me is, and I've worked in work environments like this, it seems to be one or two of the players seem to be really on the cause of doing what's right for Leicester City and trying to push the team forward. And I think the rest of them are there just trying to get a paycheck, and they're dragging the rest of the team down. That's what concerns me. I see players more concerned about their reputations individually beyond Leicester than actually making Leicester better. So that's a concern, Chris.
It is. But look, when you're signing 30 plus something year olds who aren't being offered a contract at their own club, so we go and, well, let's look at AU, for example. And yeah, he's had his moments. He was offered a 2-year contract at Fulham. Was it Fulham or Palace? I can't remember where he was.
Palace.
Yeah. He wanted a 3-year contract. So we gave him a 3-year contract. Why? At his age? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were in the Championship and went to a stage where we literally had every OAP ex-Premier League footballer there? I called it then Derby and Jones United.
Yeah, I remember when we had no money to buy any players, so any player that came from a Premier League club like Les Ferdinand on a free transfer was coming in the door. Yeah, absolutely.
They were all at the end of their career. They were, they'd got no hunger. They were there to get the wages.
And just worrying about that, Chris, I still think that team in that year that went down from the Premier League had more fight than this one. And hey, Wayne, hope you're right, mate.
I've just said the only thing that's going to... I mean, I don't think Viagra could keep us up, to be honest with you. I mean, how fucking shit were we, Wayne?
We were poor, to be honest. As the game developed and started to see how we were playing and they were playing, I mean, they just took the chances very well. And we lacked connectivity from the midfield through to the forwards. And defensively, just basic errors again. basic errors on quite average chances. They didn't have brilliant chances, I don't think.
But Wayne, hopefully you managed to see the game and what I suggested worked for you,
Yes.
which is great. There was nothing I saw there that said this is a Premier League team. We couldn't pass, we couldn't tackle, we couldn't get for the second ball, we couldn't defend. You tell me one thing we could do out there.
Oh, I think that's a bit harsh, Chris. I'm joking. Yeah, we didn't. I think that it's just like don't seem to be gelling as a team. I think Samare in spells is really good. I thought Winks improved things and we kept the ball. I mean, to be honest, I was like celebrating that the second half we actually managed a 0-0.
Yes, indeed. Jim, look, if you tell me positives, I'm not going to believe you.
Listen, I subscribe to Tom's positivity. However, I had my blue shirt on the whole match. I just went into my closet and found a black one because I feel like we're in mourning. This is
me and you on the same page here, Jim. Same page. 45 minutes, mate.
Can I just say, Jim,
listen,
if you wore your black,
this is a 9 a.m. match. Go ahead.
Sorry, man, I didn't mean to talk over you. Time difference. But look, if this was a funeral and you're wearing black, so I know I get what you said, but if this was a funeral, the bloody stiff would have more fight in them than those 11 players that are on the pitch today. Let's be honest.
Jesus.
Was there anything there that anybody saw? And I'll open it up. Throw something at me that you could come and say, we did that well today.
They got a few free beers at the stadium, I heard.
Can I tell you one thing that did come out good from today? That Manchester United lost 3-0 at home to Bournemouth, so that will probably be the big headlines rather than us. Let me take you through the table as it stands. Look, Southampton got a point today. They held Fulham away from home. I just think, what is the point, let alone getting a point? Right, Southampton, 20th with 6, minus 25. Ipswich, 19th, 12 with minus 16. Wolves, 18th with 12 points, minus 13. Leicester City, 14th with in 17th with minus 16. And then Palace and Everton both on 16. West Ham, I think, pretty much are going to be out of it now, to be honest with you. They seem to be picking up odd points here. Tom, they say you need 3 teams to be worse than you to stay up. There's nobody worse than us in this league at the moment.
I think that is the weight of what we're feeling right now as a group in this situation with the chat as well, because like me and Jim were saying at half time, 45 minutes we still got a bit of a rare light, but after that 45 minutes the rare light was completely extinguished. Well, I mean, exactly. I mean, it was kind of, premeditated with Danny Ward's name being on the team sheet, perhaps. But this wasn't Danny Ward's fault individually today. This is a part of a collective problem. And it's ironic, Chris, you brought up the Manchester United result, because they're in exactly the same spot we're in right now, where you're kind of looking like, who's here for the right reasons? Who's here for a paycheck? Who's going to be the one, who's going to go at the end of the season? Right, I'm not going to play in a championship with Leicester go down, so I'm getting a transfer. But who's the person that thinks they're Premier League quality but wasn't putting the work in? We've got a few of those in there. And the only blessing we perhaps have, going back to your previous question, is that there's a January transfer window and hopefully some budget available. Otherwise, we are completely boned right now because we are the worst.
Present. Well, Chris, the thing we did enjoy was your commentary. Thank you for that. Can I just say, if anybody got £1 for every time I swore, then you'd probably be able to retire, because I have never felt so negative. And look, I know you can't polish a turd, but I want to ask you this. And we'll go to Jim for this one. John says here, good question. Was Cooper hard done by? Seems looking at it, it's the team that's not good enough, not the managers.
I still think, and you know me and Tom and Wayne, you got all three positivity guys here. I think that it was a step up with the manager. Okay. I do still think we have a championship level team. What we're looking at right now is not a Premier League team. And we knew that. If we were admitting to ourselves, we knew that at the beginning of the season. I watched some of the teams that I think are less than us as far as we should beat, but they got Premier League talent. So we are bad. We are everything you said. And you had some choice words today, Chris, I will say. But we're not at the level of a Premier League team right now. Now, we got excited. We got excited with that win and with that draw with Rude. Got a little bit of eye awakening with the Newcastle match. But we all expected more than what we saw today. We were just shite. I mean, from the get-go. And I think it's the level of caliber of the players we have.
Tell you what, Wade, not a good day to give up drinking, is it?
It isn't. It isn't. To be honest, if I wasn't recovering from a cold, I'd be on the mess, I think.
Whiskey, mate, whiskey.
Listen,
Whiskey
our
is
match
the
started at 9 a.m. I was drinking at half. That's what tells you.
What is in that? What is in that, Jim?
Rum, Captain Morgan rum, and Diet Coke.
Ooh.
I was going to say it had to be rum and coke being from Florida, mate. I was like, he's going to say it's 9 a.m. and Leicester have driven me by 11 o'clock to rum and coke. The North vibe. I miss it, man.
That says it all. But look, Wayne, if Jim has worn black for the funeral, you've worn white because you've put the surrender flag up, haven't you?
Yeah, well, like Jim, I nearly put my Foxes Never Quit. Was it a Community Shield commemorative T-shirt? Anyway, so but I took it off and put this on. Yeah, it is really worrying. Like Jim said, you had the euphoria of Rude taking over, 2 great results. I mean, Newcastle, they were going to start playing very well, and they started playing. And the son-in-law and grandson, they're buzzing at the minute because they are really on fire. Isak's got his mojo back. But this team, I mean, I think at the end of the first half, you said, Wolves were better in every department. But I think Wolves really did look bang average, to be honest. Just how they scored the goals were just almost like watching sort of 13-year-old kids defend. Yeah.
But you say that, Wayne, let me stick with you for this. You say they were bang average. Well, then we must have made them look like primetime Argentina.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the way the goals are scored, the positions that their moves started off. I mean, one was right out near the throwing line and there was no danger. A couple of touches and poor defending, and they've got a goal from a tight angle. They didn't super play through us to get those goals and play brilliant wing plays, just really basic defending errors by Cody and others that it cost you at this level. That play like that, and you let in 3 goals that could be avoided.
Tom, I've said some of our players think they are primetime Messi, when in fact they're actually just a full-time mess.
Yeah, it's
See what I did there? See what I did?
I think it was good, mate. It was good. You got any more to add to that? Add a few more.
No. That for me.
Try to make us feel better.
I mean,
I was going to say no. I get what you're saying here, and it relates back to the point I was saying a little bit, doesn't it? It's difficult to understand why sometimes it's not clicking, but it's funny life, isn't it? Because sometimes you can have the best football players all put together on the same team, but it won't click. You can also have a mixture of the two, and it will click. The Leicester City team that won the Premier League, for some reason, every element of that team clicked perfectly, and on that year, on that time of the history, for everyone else, that wasn't the case, and it really played into our hands. I just really look at this team now, and I just do not see a way to connect them. So I think we have to disconnect them in January, and I think we need to improve, and we need to bring in personalities. I don't really worry too much about the quality to a degree. Yes, we want to have Premier League quality. I'm more concerned at the moment about the desire to actually play for Leicester City and the desire to win football matches for Leicester City. That's what I want to see more of.
I am going to bring Kate in, so bear with me, guys. And I don't know why that isn't working. Hang on 1 second, Kate. Oh, no. Hang on. There she is.
Hello.
Hello. What a load of fucking shit that was.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely in a nutshell there. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. I don't even know what to make of that first half. Goodness me, that was an absolute shambles. Yeah.
Second half wasn't much better, was it?
No. Get a clean sheet though, Chris. Come on, every cloud.
Remember, you're probably too young, but when Jock Wallace was manager, he actually proposed that the rules be changed so that you got points for the first half and points for the second half.
I'd be all in favour of that right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I said before that we need 3 teams to be shitter than us in the league.
Yeah.
There is not 3 teams shitter than that in the league. Southampton got a point today.
Oh, did they?
Yes, they got a point today. Everton held Chelsea today.
Yeah, I saw that.
We couldn't hold our own bloody dicks, I tell you, we're that bad.
No, to be fair, that's very true. But
you can tell I'm impressed, can't you?
Yeah, I think, well, it was a bit odd to begin with, like before the games, not seeing Buena. Don't really understand that choice. The Danny Ward thing, it is what it is. I don't know why Everson isn't being picked, but Rude's not the first person to do that. So you're going into it without arguably your best player of the season, and then also with a keeper that isn't doing so well. But I wasn't really understanding and appreciative of all the boos going towards Danny Ward when he touched the ball or anything else. I don't think he didn't ask to be picked today. I don't think it helps at all, and it was cringeworthy for me that. And I'm not seeing all the goals over again, but I don't think all of them were his fault.
I mean,
there's an element of he could have done better, but then he didn't get himself into the positions that ended up conceding the goals.
One of them was a 100% down to James Justin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing his best dancing on ice impersonation. You could argue with the other 2. He dived for them. He got his hand to one. I mean, you get your hand to a ball. It's I don't know. I've got to say you need 10 players in front of you that are going to give you some sort of backup. And
absolutely. Yeah, like we all say, people are all saying they need a keeper to make the defence feel confident, but a keeper needs a defence to make him feel confident. Like it works a 2-way street. It's not that he didn't play a part. I don't think he didn't play a part, but everybody played a part. He's not to be made a scapegoat of, and I certainly don't agree with applauding sarcastically when he held onto the ball at one point. Like how is that helping your team?
Yeah. No.
But aside from that, it was an absolute disgrace. I don't know what JJ was doing. It was so lacklustre. Vardy was the only one who looked like he gave a shit. Buena not 84 minutes. Explain that one to me. It was just ridiculous.
On the commentary that he wasn't fully fit. Well, if he's not fully fit, why stick him on the bench? And why? I'm going to have to say this to you because I'm like that. I want to, but I just want to go through. And I'm not going to say Rude out at the moment, but Vestergaard off for phase. What did that offer us? Absolutely nothing. Justin came off for Chowdhury. Justin had to come off. He was again having an awful game. But look, he's not a right back, but he's having to play there. Skip off for Winks. I get that, but I don't think Skip's did anything particularly wrong. Canoes off for Dakova Reed. Why did we not have, we've got Daka on the bench. Why do we not have more strikers on? We're 3-0 down. The game's lost. You're bringing on defensive players. Winks, Chowdhury, Faze. 3 of our 4 substitutions up to the 60th minute mark were all defensive-minded players.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Preaching to the converted. I don't know why we didn't try Daka. And then as time went on, at 80 minutes when that ticked over, I thought, well, it's time to bring Vardy off because you don't want him getting injured. And then when he actually went down, I thought, oh my God, he's got injured. After all that, he's going to get injured. But yeah, I'm completely in agreement. I don't know why I didn't bring Bannon on a half time. I don't know why I didn't think of Daka. I just throw the kitchen sink at it a little bit because Wolves didn't look great. Like, defensively, they didn't look great. We just didn't threaten. It was so impotent again. It was just basically like part 2 of what happened last weekend, wasn't it?
No disrespect to Wolves. They deserved the win. Well done to them. You can say it was maybe new manager bounce, but they didn't have much. They can only play what they were up against, and they were up against a load of netball players, weren't they, really?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, it was just bog average, apathetic, lackluster. Yeah, a team that they're in a rut, and I don't want to slag them too much because they're my team. I love them, and I don't think they would ever want to put out a performance like that. They'll be more disappointed than the fans for sure.
But how often do we say, well, they're disappointed again. They're disappointed again. They're disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes on and on and on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And if you know the magic pill, and we'd all take it to make it better. But Rude's got his work cut out. Won't go anywhere near saying that, slagging Rude off. He's been here just over 2 weeks. So I just hope he understands how much work he's got to do and how important this window is. Top was there today at the ground.
Yeah.
So, he
close up of Top. He looked absolutely pissed off, shaking his head.
Did he? So just poor, just really, really poor. And I still think we've got enough to stay up, but the boys are so low in confidence. Like, JJ's had a terrible season, both in terms of some of his performances, not all. I won't hold him accountable for everything because he's not been helped out, but he's just exasperated. But what are we going to do? We've got no one else.
Exactly. That's the problem. We need a right back in the January transfer window. Do you pass a chemist between there and your car, by the way?
No.
Oh, damn. I'm going to say, if you do, pop in for some Viagra and send it to the boys. Right, I need your performance rating.
Performance rating is 2.
2? Oh, you broke up a little bit
there.
2. 2.
Oh, sorry, 2 out of 10.
That's very generous of you. That's more than I've given them.
Only 1 point for turning up each half.
And no, they didn't turn up in the first half. That was the problem. And
it's got to be Vardy. That's the only one I felt who tried to push it, even till the bitter end. That guy was trying to rustle feathers, and
but he wasn't going to score. If he was playing till Christmas Day, he wouldn't score.
Yeah, so isolated. Like, he got in some decent positions, or he picked up the ball in the good area. There was no one within 15 yards of him.
And his
it needs to be sorted out.
His control was awful.
But best of a bad bunch.
Not a problem. Kate, look, have an absolutely fantastic Christmas.
Yes, and you, and all the guys as well.
I felt sorry for the little lad that was holding up a sign that said, "Dear Santa, can I please have 3 points for Christmas?" And he'd actually crossed it out. He got his pen with him, he crossed it out and put 1.
Oh, did he? Yeah. I thought you were going to say he crossed it out and put refund.
Yeah. They deserve it. Kate, have a great Christmas and happy
you too. And you. See you next year.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Right, let me bring the lads back in. Why isn't Jim popping in? Maybe I need to.
I'm here.
There we go.
There
he doesn't how he moved. You were on top of Kate. That was the problem.
Hey, Chris. Hey, before you
get a married man, mate.
Before you get us started, can I follow up on a point that Tom made right before we visited with Kate?
By all means.
So I think we all know, Tom said it best, that you can have a team of excellent players that don't play well together, or you can have a team of less talented players that play together as a team with continuity. One of the takeaways from this match, I felt with the mixed lineup we've had the last couple of matches, I saw some times where the players didn't know where their teammates were. They'd pass a ball and the player wasn't there, or the player would be there and they wouldn't pass it. I think talking back to the championship team, that team wasn't as talented, but they knew where everybody was the whole match. They knew where to play them. They knew if they played a ball, they would be there. And they certainly won. And I think with this team, we just haven't had the continuity. We also haven't had the passion and fire. There was one spot in the game where we lost the ball. I forget who it was, one of the younger players. And they weren't even pissed. They just turned around and walked away. You didn't have that with the championship team. You didn't have that. We need, like Tom said, those players who want to be here and who are pissed if they lose a ball. Almost like Vardy, when he has his edge on, we need 11 to have their edge on. That's what's going to make up this gap. Otherwise, whew. So
yeah. Jordan Blackwell apparently has given Ward 2. Well, to be honest with you, and I'm sorry, Brad, but I'm going to disagree with you. Completely disagree with Kate. The defence looks to the keeper for guidance and leadership, while the likes of JJ were just as bad. Ward shows no command of that air. It's funny you say that, though, Brad, but at one point he actually yelled and came running out for it and got Justin off not to leave the ball so he could pick it up. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. You could put, like I've said many times this season, stick Schmeichel, Chilton and Banks, all 3 of them at the same time behind that defence, we would still be shit. I'm sorry. The goal is bad, but that was the defence as much as the as much as anything these days. Kate has given 2 for the performance, Jim. Let's go around the thing. What are you going to give for the performance?
I would say 2's about right. First of all, they get 1 because they showed up. And, yeah, not much more. Not much more.
Wayne?
I was going to say 1, to be honest.
No, if that's what you want to give them 1.
That is the worst, because Wolves had lost the last 4 games. And Kate did say this is a game with the 2 worst defensive record teams in the Premiership. But yeah, 1.
Tom?
2, and they get an extra point for me for the first 20 minutes where the shape was okay. They weren't really doing a lot, but they looked relatively composed. And after that one mistake, and it all went down the waterfall.
Well, I'm not being as generous as any of you because I'm giving them a big fat 0.
Oh,
I think it was. No, you show me something that even that first 20 minutes.
We have seen worse Leicester performances.
Sorry?
I think we have seen worse Leicester performances.
Oh, yeah, and
I get the emotion, mate. I get the emotion, yeah.
I'm going on that performance there. Even in that first 20 minutes, Tom, we did nothing with it.
No, I mean, I felt we looked better. We looked organised better than under Cooper, but I agree with you. As soon as we made one mistake, the whole lot fell down, which goes back to what Jim was saying about confidence as well. I get the impression, just from seeing Rude on the touchline as well, he's training the players to tell them exactly how he wants to play, because Sumari is looking better because his game's been simplified. The problem is that they're lacking confidence, so they're losing their balls at the point where they got to make that pass. They're losing.
You're presuming that they had balls in the first place, because there wasn't any of those players I saw today that had a pair of balls between them.
Absolutely, mate, and I completely agree. But I think we can all say we've been there. We've had ourselves kicked in the arse 3 or 4 times in a row with some events, and then before you know it, you're questioning more than what you probably should. It's life, but that's not to give them an out. That is to hopefully try and provide a bit more context and understanding emotionally to what could be going on. But it's something that needs to be mentioned and thought about, because if you don't, it's ignored. You know, like Man United for 4 years with no one giving a crap.
Wayne, 9-0 against Liverpool, isn't it?
Oh dear, yeah, it is worrying, to be honest. I think what Jim said, you know, there's still is a lot of changes around in the squad. You know, Buonanotte not playing, you know, Faz not getting a game. We've got a lot of changes, which I don't think is useful for the team, in a team especially that's low on confidence. Because as Tom said, sometimes you look, you know, I used to play centre midfield, and when you play centre midfield, you get the ball, you look up to see who's available, and sometimes Samari was running around the whole pitch, sometimes taking the ball with him, because he just wanted to pass the ball off to somebody. But I think the gaps in midfield, they were too big. And that is down to sort of attitude, running into space, which, you know, the players, they're training that all week. You see them, they're playing little groups, one-touch ball, you know, and the professional people. So it does seem like it is confidence, you know, confidence. Yeah.
Jim, 1.06 was the XG for Wolves, and yet they got 3 goals. I mean, apparently we had 9 shots. Shots at what? Maybe we had 9 shots of vodka and Red Bull. I don't know. Apparently 5 of those were on target. I must have fallen asleep when that happened, because I don't think I saw any shot on target. Vardy, I'm sorry, you know, got to love the guy to bits, but he was fucking useless today, wasn't he?
Tough call. I listened to your watch along, and I know you were hard on him all match long. There were some times when maybe he didn't have the touch that he had in the past. I still think, Tom said it, he still was one that was trying. It just wasn't happening. Like we've said before on these post matches, he's got to get the ball. And we weren't getting the ball to him. We weren't making good passes in the final third. And it comes back to the confidence of the players to feed him the ball. You know, was he classic Vardy on point? Maybe not, but my God, that's why I said to you, I chimed in at half. I wouldn't take him off the pitch if you need 3 goals. We needed 3 to tie. I wanted to see more strikers, and Vardy is the leader of our strikers. So well, I didn't think he was god awful, but I don't think the team was good either.
No. Well, let me say this to you then, Jim. When you've got your main striker is 38, or he's very nearly 38. Don't know if he's crossed over. I doubt it, because I haven't seen my timeline flooded with birthday messages for him. So I think he's still 37 and 11 months. You can't just stick him up front and expect him to do anything. You know, Tony Cottee, that we used with us when we had Tony Cottee.
I know the name. I know the name from following the history of the club, but no.
Well, let me then, if you don't mind, let me go down to Tom, because I know he's old. Do you remember that, Tom?
Remember Tony Cottee? Yeah, of course I do. Yeah.
For Leicester.
Yeah.
And Wayne, you listen to this, because I'll come to you for the same question afterwards. When we signed Tony Cottee, he was getting on a little bit, and he had a certain Emile Heskey to do all the running for him. And all Tony Cottee had to do, as he said, and he admitted this, he said, I didn't have to do the running. I just had to make sure I was in the position that when Emile Heskey had done all the running, who was like 20, and got the ball in, that I was on the end of it. How often have we seen Jamie Vardy with that ball in the corner when he should be in the box? Do we really seriously not need 2 up front now if we're going to play Jamie Vardy?
I think personally, and I've said this a few times, I think a 4-4-2 counter-attack would serve us best for the facilities and players we have at the moment. It's not an attractive way to play football, but bear in mind we've got more slower defenders who are our better defenders for intelligence. Having a deeper line and breaking out quick would serve us better, because Vardy has still got that pace. It's not as if he's lost it. So yeah, I do agree with you on that we should probably consider it. But if not, ultimately, ironically, with formations, they're not the be all and end all, because these players can move and drift and then someone else covers, which means you're playing a 4-5-1, but it's going to be a 4-4-2 at certain points anyway. So I agree with you. And you mentioned Tony Cottee. I think the same would have gone for Steve Claridge. When Claridge came in, Heskey was just coming in as well. We had a bit of pace and he picked up a lot of goals because he wasn't the quickest either. So I agree with you. It is an interesting theory of how are we going to get the best out of what we got. But also there is that realization today, I think, Chris, of what we've all been talking about, of that what we've got at our best right now, trusting in Ruud and his vision, is concerningly probably not going to be good enough without a transfer window and a bit of fortune.
Wayne, one of the best seasons we had recently was when we had Iheanacho and Vardy on together. In fact, Vardy turned provider and Iheanacho was our top goal scorer this week. You can't rely on a 38... I'm sorry, but you cannot rely on a 38-year-old playing up front on his own. It's just fucking stupid, isn't it?
I think it is. You've got the modern thing of, fans go about, we need a boxing midfield, or, you play one up front. But I do think you can play two up front. I think you're best to have a team that works very hard, skillful, and can connect and pass the ball, no matter what system it is, than have a system where people are disconnected, lack of confidence, because team spirit is a massive thing, as we all know through the years. Like Lineker, you had to get the ball in the box to him. He could never dribble through three people. Vardy has in football intelligence in bucket loads. And I do think, he was unlucky with his chance against the keeper. It just caught, was it his shoulder? Just caught. And he was a bit sleeping on the second chance where he had to swivel and try and get the shot away. So I do think he had chances and he probably could have scored a couple of goals.
Sleepy. Rapunzel was less sleepy than that. He
wasn't sleepy. Yeah, but Mavididi was even more sleepy for that quick skip free.
I won't argue with that. Right, let us go on to man of the match. Kate went for Vardy. Jim?
I think the man of the match would be every man and woman and child that stayed that whole match at the KP. I didn't see anybody on the pitch that deserved it, but I saw loads of fans leaving at 79-minute mark. But I give credit to whoever stayed. They're true fans because it looked cold as hell there. So on the pitch, I can't name one, but I'll give it to the fans that stayed.
Okay, so basically with players, then you are going for no one.
Yep.
Yeah. Wayne?
I agree with Kate. Vardy. I think if he does get more service, you can't expect strikers to score every chance they get. And he was very close on a couple of those, got blocked on the line. So, Vardy, I'd say, for his attitude as well.
Well, I was going to say, Chris, I'm glad you referenced the little boy in the stands with the sign who had, all I want for Christmas is 3 points, and he crossed it down to 1. Because most children would have, can I have your shirt, please? I'll give him the man of the match, because I thought that was honestly, it really cheered me up to see a nice young man like that who had his priorities in the right place. It was like, I don't need anything from me. I just need my football club to have 3 points. But seriously, going to play it.
But seriously, so again, no player is what we're saying.
I don't think there's anyone. I think Vardy, Christensen, Sumari all tried. The rest of them, fart noises. Bad.
Are you going for one of them, or are you going for no one?
I'm going to go for no one.
Well, you guys have taken the wind out of my sails, because I was going to go for no one as well. So, not one person, and I can't say I can understand why you guys went for Vardy, Kate and Jim, but. And I've not got Alan's official ratings through yet, but I am actually going to overrule him this week, and I am going to put it as 0 and no one. And I hope they see it. I really do hope they see it, because they should. They were booed at the end, so I'm pretty much guessing they know how we feel. It's embarrassing. I would sooner have Pixie Frostbite, Zippy Sugar Balls, or Sugar Bells, I should say, and Jingle Glitter Balls out on that pitch than any of the players could play. Oh, you thought I'd forgotten. No. Just quickly looking through, guys, what... Jim, let me come this to you. This is the headline from the Leicester Mercury, Jordan Blackwell. Leicester City player work ratings versus Wolves as Ward calamity costly in disastrous defeat.
Now, I don't think he was watching the same match that we were and that we talked about. It certainly wasn't on Ward. You guys said it earlier. JJ, that huge mistake. And then the other two, Mads may have stopped them, but I wouldn't throw this on Ward. Kate said it too. He didn't choose himself for the starting lineup. No, it wasn't on Ward.
It's funny because I was going to mention that before we got to this. Kate agreed with that, and and like what you were saying, like the fans that were booing him. Hopefully, it was Wolves fans. Like I understand, I'm not his biggest fan either, but I wouldn't be booing him in the stadium. Just going to throw that out there.
No, I would never boo. And I came down to remember when Leicester beat Bournemouth in the FA Cup last season?
Yeah, Fatou restored. Yeah,
yeah, and I was. In the end, where they have it down the side, but because it was the FA Cup, they had to give us more tickets. And I was behind the goal. 2/3 of that stand were Bournemouth, and then there was us Leicester fans. Every time, and I can't remember who it was, their striker got onto the ball, they were booing him. And guess what? He never scored. I cannot stand. I mean, I have nothing against booing because you pay your money, you're entitled to vent your frustration. But only at half time and only at full time.
Ultimately, we've all got family meals we're going to be going to in the next couple of days, and I'm pretty sure we've all got an uncle there we don't particularly like, but he's part of the family, and you've got to put up with him. Danny Ward is that right now, so let's be nice to him. For goodness' sake, goes in a few drinks, he might kick off.
While the players, sorry, a bit slow there. While the players are on the pitch playing, I think we've got to give them all our support. And I think that's look. I'm not Ward's biggest fan. I was when he got the chance. I think he deserved the chance, but he wasn't good enough. But we as Leicester fans, Wayne, we've got to hate somebody. And I've said this so many times, whether it's Chilwell, Thomas, we've always got to hate onto a player. Otherwise, we're not happy.
Yeah, it's a modern thing that it's like when you go on Twitter sometimes you're thinking, my God, some of the comments. I think it's got to be from Leicester fans because Ward was over that side and the away fans are right in the corner on the opposite side of the ground. So when it happened, I thought, oh, that's terrible. If that's our fans, and it sounded like it was from our fans. Yeah, so that sort of thing. I mean, you got a goalkeeper who's under the most pressure in the team because everything he does is under a microscope, and you're booing your own player. That is, I don't know whether it's certain age element to the fans. Certainly all my customers that I speak to that go down regular, none of them will be booing the goalkeeper. No.
Like I said, I have absolutely, if people boo at the end, they're entitled to do that. Once that final whistle's gone, I have nothing, we should vent our frustrations. We have, after all, most people have paid £40 plus on the rest for the ticket. They have every right to boo, but not during the game, certainly not. Jim, I mean, do you remember when we got relegated? We lost twice to Southampton, who were the worst team in the division. We know they were the worst team because they finished bottom. I was totally, and you probably heard me say it during the watch long, I was totally embarrassed. Wolves fans in the relegation zone going ole, ole, ole to every pass they made round a Leicester player. That, if that did not make the Leicester players hang their head in shame, what will?
Well, I think what it should have made them pissed off. It should have had them fired up. Granted, you'll hear a lot of the players that say, I don't pay attention to the fans. Well, half of that's bullshit. They hear it. They know what's out there, but they know their play was awful. And I think the Wolves fans had the right. They were the better team. And whether you're booing a player or you're booing the whole game, they, as the team that was playing better, had the right to do that. But
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. And like I said, despite all of this, I'm not taking away the fact that Wolves were the better team. Wolves deserved to win, right? I'm not taking that away from Wolves at all. But what I'm saying, though, I mean, I can remember being at Southampton 9-0, and we were olaying virtually the whole second half. I don't say that they shouldn't be doing that, but what I'm saying is Leicester players, when you're getting olayed by a team in the bottom three, that should make you think, shit. You should make them pull the socks up, but they didn't, did they?
No, and I could see them being disappointed and hanging their heads afterwards. But when it's happening, they got to be fired up. That's got to be. You'll hear players. I mean, Vardy's one of them that gets fired up by the opposing fans. It fuels him. And like we said earlier on this call, this team has got to get that fire in their belly. They have got to know that it's not okay to just go out there and do. They've got to have that extra effort, because that's the only way they're going to pull themselves up and stay safe.
Right, let me just quickly run through these and give me your thoughts on these. But I'm going to go through a couple of Jordan's ratings here, just see what you think. Can I just say the person with the most points that he gave today, the highest score, and therefore must have been his man of the match, was 2. What did he give? Yeah. El Canoose got 6, and Harry Winks got 6. Any of you guys think that either of them deserved a 6?
I think
No,
Winks
I'll
showed his quality.
take that as a no.
I think the deafening silence gives away that one, doesn't it?
I
No,
think so.
I don't think so. No.
I think Winks showed his quality on the ball. He did try and thread balls through, get things moving from midfield. But El Canouse, he did play that. Did he play the ball through to Vardy for his first chance?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But a lot of his other passes were. That's where your selection of what pass to make at that time when you're in midfield. And El Canouse was trying to punch passes through too long, passing to the opposition. He just struggled today, really.
I was going to say, do you guys ironically think we need to be a bit more direct? I think there was times in the game we were stood on the ball too much and we weren't actually getting on with it. And it was like the amount of times Decordova-Reid had his foot on the ball doing little backflips to try and create a tiny bit of space. I'm like, mate, it's the 77th minute. Just play a ball in. If we lose it, just go and try and win it back. But try and play more direct and more forward. I felt they were fapping. I don't know about you guys, but...
You're not allowed to do that these days, are you?
Well, I don't care. We've won a Premier League.
Play 2 up front, are you?
Well, we don't do things for what everyone else expects of us, mate. We do what we want to do for us because we're Leicester City.
Yeah, but we can't. We've all got to stick to this Pep super plan, haven't we?
Which is going so well for
nines and false boobs or whatever. You know what I mean? We don't. We can't do that. Danny Ward, everybody. So poor. The first and third goals went through him, while the second was a calamity of errors in communication and awareness. But being booed by his own fans can't have been helpful, and he's given him a 2.
Well, you know what about that? And I know we're piling on Danny Ward, or we aren't, but certainly I think what the Leicester fan group is forgetting is this whole season, Mads had to make extraordinary saves, match after match after match. And we're looking at him like he is the, what did Wayne say, the Messiah during the watch along. Like he is there. What they're forgetting is if he didn't make those saves, we would be peppered. So we have Ward in there. He's not as athletic, not as quick as Mads, and getting the same attack at him. So I think what I'm getting at is we've been getting peppered all year long. It's just Mads is such a good keeper that we're piling on Ward when he's an average keeper.
I'm sure the fans would say he's not, certainly about Danny Ward, he's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy.
Chris, what was that stat about us versus Ipswich against the team? That Ipswich had conceded half the amount of shots on goal that we did. And that completely backs up what was said about Mads there. In some ways, Mads has covered up a lot of our problems for a long time.
I think so. Yes. And you can't keep doing that forever and ever and ever. Well, as has been proved. He gave James just shout out if you disagree with any of these. James Justin, he gave a 3. Connor Cody a 5. Vestergaard a 4. Christensen a 4. Sumare a 5. Skip a 4. Ayew a 3. Elkanous, as we said, a 6. Mavadidi a 5. Vardy a 5. Phase 4. Wink 6. Hamza 5. Duvakova Reed 4, and obviously Buenete wasn't on long enough. I think he's been particularly generous with some of those, Wayne.
Yeah, I think he is. JJ, like Kay says, he's a shadow of his former self. I know, like when Ricky P came back, those cruciate ligaments, will they ever get the speed back? But I do think Maresca kind of a bit ruined JJ. He played in the system, he used to run forward, turn back and recycle it. And I think with that and his confidence now, but he was on the verge of playing for England, and he was so. You look at him a couple of years ago, he was a fantastic player. So that's Rue's problem. Rue's problem is, can I get these players connecting as a team, get the confidence up, and that is, I mean, for all the people that saying Cooper out, it's really interesting now because this is the real test, and see whether Rue can wave his magic wand.
Well, indeed, but for me, Cooper had to go anyway because this. Let's be honest with you, this is Cooper's team. And I don't mean the fact that he bought some of the players through, but he bought, the majority, all the new signings were him, right? Elkanous, Ayew, Edward, Dukharova Reed, Okoli. They're all players that he sanctioned or he wanted. Like I said before, you can't polish a turd. And, Cooper had to go, but I think we've got to wait and give, and I'm not blaming Rude for this. I think we've got to wait until January, see what he does. But what you were saying about James Justin there, and I'll come to you, Tom, is, do you remember, as I've said this before, Daka against Plymouth last year, when he was taken off, he looked like he was about to burst into tears. He had the weight of the world on his shoulders. Sometimes a player needs to be taken out and given a rest. Let's not forget that happened with Pickford at Everton when he was England keeper. He was dropped for his club because he wasn't, having a good time. If we drop James Justin, though, who the hell do we put in there? And you could then say, well, that's the previous management's fault for not having cover in that position.
Yeah, and that is entirely the problem. You've nailed it there. The problem is that he needs a bit of a break or a rest or some time away from actually playing playing in the first 11 all the time when he's in a bad run of form, and there's no one there to give him that breather, because then it gives you some time on the training pitch to work on what is going on. I still look back to Brendan Rodgers a lot with this, because ultimately when Brendan was here, it was very apparent for a year before he went that there was big problems starting to form, and a lot of the players had individually regressed under him. Under Rodgers, he became an England player and then went completely the opposite way towards the end. It was almost like the rug got pulled out from under his feet. And since then, they've had different styles of managers telling him different things. We've had an Enzo, we've had a Cooper, we now got a Rude. Their heads must be all over the place, plus their confidence must be shot. And you're entirely right. The lack of squad depth is catching us out, and that's why we are where we are. Ultimately, life will show you where you are and why you're there. And we're seeing now why we're here. We know what we've got to do to fix it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Rude is going to be that man to do it, because there might even be one or two questions now from some fans. Like we're saying, not for me, not for you, not for any of us, I'm sure. But this is a fickle world nowadays, and it's very much TikTok, McDonald's, fast food, instant culture. So I don't know. But I hope we can identify now what we need to do to go forward. That's the most important thing, guys.
I'll come back to that point, and don't let me forget. But Jim, do we consider changing formation and maybe just going 3 at the back, just to give James James Justin that break?
Well, I think Tom said it earlier about counterattacking, and I think you just talked about James Justin now. I think you have to play the formation that fits the players that you have. I mean, that's common sense. But he inherited this group, like you guys just said, and he's got to make the best of what he had. And at the break, the transfer, he's got to go out to say, this piece will fit in the formation I want to play. This piece will fit in this other position I want to play. But right now, I would play to their strengths. I wouldn't put them where, I mean, like we talked about with Ndidi. I mean, he was out of position. JJ's been asked to play out of position. A couple months back, we talked about Vestergaard. I think Brad brought it up. We talked about Vestergaard being at least kind of a solid backline player where you know he's going to be. He's not going to be running off, and he'll be the one, like I said earlier, where you know he'll always be. So I think we need to get a formation that fits the players and they can feel comfortable in it, because unless they get comfortable, they're not going to get confident. And if they don't get confident, they ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Wayne, this is a results business. And I think a lot of people say, well, the honeymoon period's over with Rude. Look, none of us are blaming you for this. Like I said, he's inherited this. He wasn't, there's no transfer window, so he can't make any changes till January. I think he's got till January. I think by the time the new year comes, we will actually be in the bottom three because of our next two games. I can't see us. We can't beat Wolves at home. We're not going to beat Liverpool away. And as bad as Man City are, we'll probably make them look like Real Madrid. If Rude will then in January get the players that he wants to get in, and we've all got our own opinions on what they are. I mean, for me, priority is a right back. Other people, the priority will be a striker, etc., etc. Goalkeeper has even been mentioned. So come February, if we're not then performing, does it then become Rude's problem?
Yeah, because ultimately he's the manager. And like I say, he does influence, as Cooper did, who we buy and sell. But we've lost Fatu and Ricky P. And I know Ricky P didn't start the season, but like Albrighton, I think he would have ended up being a regular in the side, and then you can switch JJ over. So you lost two real pivotal people. But the encouraging thing with Rude is that I think he will go for younger, quicker, intelligent, like central defenders, for instance, and that's what we need, because you just hope that he probably, you got the side you ideally would like your top 11, but then in his position he's probably think, well, I've only got 2 or 3 people I can probably bring in, maybe one on loan. Can I get enough quality players to keep us in the Premiership? Yeah.
Guys, look, I think we're going to end it there before any of us starts slitting our wrists. I'm going to leave you with one question, though. There is, as you know, on the BBC website, every Tuesday, there's the fans' view. I think it's actually going to be Monday because the deadline is actually in 9 minutes. Thankfully, I wrote mine yesterday. And sent it over. So I think it could actually be tomorrow because you've got Christmas and everything coming in. It might still be Tuesday, I don't know. But we weren't asked to write about the our current thoughts, which we normally do. Our brief this year, and I'm going to ask you to each of these before we go to answer me this question. We'll start with Tom. It's what has your highlight been of 2024?
Oh, well, winning the championship.
That can be, like you say, winning games, winning an award, sacking a manager, signing a player.
Oh, I see. No, yeah. I mean, winning the championship for me, Chris, because it wasn't as cut and dry as it looked. I mean, so we did do that this year. So for me, winning the championship, I mean, I'm going to forget about any Premier League stuff so far and just go back to the good old days where they were stood in Leicester City Centre waving the trophy over the balcony and Vardy was dropping F-bombs about John Rudkin. Happy memories.
It seems so long ago.
It was this year. It was this year.
Yeah. Wayne?
Yeah, same as Tom, really. I mean, to win it, having nearly sort of slipped on that big banana skin and getting chased down, and then Leeds not being able to handle the pressure. That was it, really. Yeah. Winning the championship, positive, and we've still got opportunities this year.
Jim?
I agree with the fellas. I mean, certainly winning a championship the way we did, I mean, almost wire to wire. Granted, like Wayne said, at the end it was a little sketchy, but that was a positive for the city, the fan base. It had us looking forward to the Premier League season. And unfortunately, it's been a roller coaster ride so far, with some highs, with some lows. But let's just hope in the new year there's more highs than lows.
Scott says retaining Mads Hermansen. Good point. Can I just say, and I can't tell you what it is, because part of the agreement with the BBC is that what we do is, well, you wouldn't want to read it if I gave you my answer. But all I will say is, mine is not that.
And I thought it wasn't from your face as you were sort of watching us answer. It was kind of like, oh, I've got a completely different angle from everyone else here. I think I know what you've done, but I'm not going to throw you under a bus, mate.
Stay online afterwards and you can tell me.
Yeah, I will. I'll tell you. I think I know what it is.
I'd love to know what it is, but I can't say obviously while we are live. But it's not that. Very last thing now. A good point that Scott has just made, and I promise you this is the last one because I'm starving and I need to go and get a takeaway. A quick yes or no. Should we be, start with Jim this time, should we be blooding the youngsters?
If they have that fire and desire, that will show the other ones that they need to get it, even though they're maybe think they're set in their position. But right now, I mean, you have two matches, like you said, that we don't expect to win. I mean, who knows? Something could happen, but I mean, get them in there, but don't sacrifice the season to do it. But if they got the fire and the desire, sure.
Wayne, remember when we put the youngsters out against Watford in the FA Cup and we beat them 3 or 4-0 or something, and then the main players came back, the big players came back the next round, and we lost to Forest.
Yeah.
They can't have less fire than, I mean, they say don't piss on me fire. This lot have been pissed on because they're all out of fire, aren't they? So would you not bring the youngsters in?
Yeah, I think you have to be careful with the youngsters, really. I mean, like I said, what was that young guy they nearly brought on at Newcastle? But we're getting thumped and thought, no, better not bring him on. I mean, youngsters, if they've got the confidence at that age, they've got the confidence. And you just, give them a chance. But Rude's got to move the chess pieces around and just...
Yeah.
Rude's got the magic. Come on, Rude, give it to us.
I was going to say,
in the song then, Wayne. Look, I've often said Wayne Rooney wouldn't have even started breaking through yet if he'd been at Leicester, let alone playing in the Premier League at 16. Golding, Alves,
Cartwright,
yeah.
Cartwright, that's it. I couldn't think of his name then. I mean, we're all being told, look, what? If we're not going to bring them through, can we not sell the training ground and let's go back to Beaver Drive? Because it's a fucking waste of money, that, isn't it?
I think the boys nailed it pretty well. Now, I think as questions go, it's not the biggest question we need to answer right now. The biggest question is, what does this football club need to do to stay in the Premier League? That is the one and only question we have to ask
players that show desire, and none of them do, but the youngsters might do that.
Absolutely, and that's what opens up the secondary question. So my answer to that is, if they want to play for Leicester City, if they are willing to put 110% in, and if they're showing Rude on the training pitch, they're doing more than certain individuals like maybe Wout Faz. Not going to throw anyone else under the bus in particular, perhaps, but, there's certain players we're looking at going, are they here for the right reasons? If that player's doing more than that in that position, I don't care if he's going to make a few more mistakes. I like his attitude, so he's going to be in. That's the real way of looking at it, I think. So,
Indeed. I will leave you with 11 points, all-time low Derby County got. Southampton are just 5 off matching that, which I think they will do. Ipswich, Wolves, have both got 12. We've got 14. So at least we're not going to get relegated with the lowest ever number of points. Unless, of course, the Premier League come back and dock us any points.
Oh, Chris.
Ho, ho, ho. Happy Christmas.
Christmas bar humbug.
Gosh.
The accounts are going to be in by the end of December, let me tell you. So, where's Nick DeMarco? Get on the phone now. Guys, thank you so very much. I wasn't going to do today, but I did.
Thank you. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you for joining me very much. Thank you for the other night.
Take care.
And
Cheers,
certainly, Zippy Sugar Bells, Pixie Frostbutt, and Jingled Litterballs. Have an absolutely amazing Christmas and a very, very...
The famous tissues that you gave me a nice shout out for at the start of the episode, my friend. They're still here. Today they were used for my eyes. Just gonna say that.
Yes. Tissues near to a computer. I'm just leaving you with that. I will leave you with that thought.
It's actually not my house, actually. I'm house sitting for someone else.
All right. But we know they're your tissues.
I think Brad needed those tissues with his name you gave him.
Yeah. Well, that's what we did that. That was actually when Tom showed them, and I was obviously having to watch 7 people. I didn't see him do that till I watched.
That's what started this. Was my silent comedy in the background.
Guys, have a great Christmas and great New Year. Definitely not doing Liverpool, and I don't think I can be asked to do Manchester City. Why should I turn up when the 11 players on the pitch don't? Thank you very much. All the best. Thanks for this year, and have a very, very Merry Christmas and healthy New Year.
Cheers,
Take care, guys.
Fellas.
See you backstage.
See ya.
Thanks very much to the guys. That is it. If you want to know what we're talking about with Winky Jizzy Hands and Frostbutts and Silver Bells and McFluffs and Bushy Evergreens, I might just put that up on its own. That would be a good idea. Have a great Christmas, everybody. Look, the way we're playing, just be drink, eat, and be merry. There's nothing else really you can do. I will see you all in the new year. If I do decide to do one watch along for either of those two, you'll see it pop up. All the best, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
Thank you for watching. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That's all, folks.